So yeah, if you've been watching my videos for a while, you would have seen the video, and I know like it got a lot of like random views. I owned a 04, 05, I forget what year it was, but it was a Gen 1 CTS-V Cadillac, LS6 motor, 6-speed obviously, they all came in 6-speed. It was a cool car, I had my fun with it. I bought it because I was kind of looking for like a highway cruiser car. I kept it for not even a year. I wound up selling it after about a year owning it, and I bought my E36 M3 directly after I sold that car. So like when I'm buying a car, I like look for like three things. It's like, is the car fun? Which means like a bunch of different things. Is the car useful? Which means a bunch of different things. But like the value of the car. Like not so much like monetary value, but kind of. That car checked the fun box. It was like my first V8 car, so I wanted to try it out to see like what all the hype was about. And it turns out like the car is just kind of like an old man car. It was really cool on the highway. You could cruise going like 85, 90, just super, car's barely even working. It's just like idling along basically. It was quick, mid-range RPM. You could have fun in it, you could floor it and it would go fast. Like it was like all I could ask it to do. The handling on it, the car was on like a set of Eibach or H&R springs. I forget what brand they use on those. It was on a set of springs, but the dude never did the swap for the rear shocks. So like the rear never came down low, and honestly the car didn't ride all that well to like what you'd think it would. This M3 on KW-V2s rides worlds better. So that was like my fun thing. It was fun, but I learned quickly that I'm actually just not a V8 guy at all. And that's no fault to the car, but I kind of like revving cars out. The agility of like an old European car, even Japanese cars, because I've had a bunch of Japanese cars over the years. I feel like it wasn't really my style, but that's not the car's fault in any way. So number two would be like the utility of a vehicle, like the usefulness. And what I mean by that is like how much am I getting out of it? Or not how much am I getting out of it, but like how useful is it to me? I don't go to the track much. I've raced like Hondas on like SCCA racing. I don't drag race. I don't really mess around on the street a lot. Some of my friends do. I do not. And then the other stuff, usefulness, comes to me with like a truck. That car is really good because my girlfriend lives like 45 minutes away, so I could hop in the Cadillac and it'd be like enjoyable to drive, and it was useful to drive there. Like it was a 4-door. I could put my stuff in the back seat and roll out and drive 45 minutes, and it was better than driving my Hyundai that I have now because it's super boring. The usefulness of my Cadillac was on the low end. It was only good for being on the highway, in my opinion. It didn't drive good on back roads. I couldn't it's not a truck. I couldn't load up the bed with stuff. The cargo storage was all right for a sedan, but I mean, it's not a truck. That's pretty much all I have to say on the usefulness of that car. Like I said, it was like mid-ship for me. And of course, everybody else's criteria, what they need is going to be different. I don't have a bunch of money. I can't just go out and buy fun cars all the time. They actually have to prove some kind of usefulness to me for me to buy them. Hence why I drive a Hyundai Venue now, because I can actually drive to work and back and not worry about a break-in like I do with my M3 and clearly like I do with my Cummins. So and then like the last criteria when I'm trying to buy a car is value, and like that can mean a bunch of different things. Like a truck has high value to me because it's like on the usefulness scale. I can use a truck all the time. Everybody needs a truck or should have a truck. My BMW, my M3 is a project. And I always liked E36s. I've had a few of them. I always liked the E36 M3. I wanted an M3. Probably should have bought a better one, but this one does the job. So the value is high because I want the car. I make content for you guys with this car. It never let me down. I barely even driven it since I bought it, but still. And yeah, I mean, I just wanted the car, so the value is high to me. On the flip side of that, monetary value is different because, so like this car, I'm not gonna say the price, but I bought it for like stupid cheap for an M3. Especially for one that's like not rotted or anything. Like it's not really rotted bad. It runs, it drives, it's all good. If I was to sell the car today, I'd probably make money on it no matter what. Or if I parted it out, I would definitely make money on it. The truck, value on that's through the roof. I mean, I paid a high price for that truck and I neglected it, and now that's why it's sitting in my driveway for the past year. The value of that truck, like when I drove it every day, was super high. Like it got me to work and back every day. I drove it in the snow to work. I mean, I loaded stuff up, I towed stuff with it, I did everything in the truck. Even that truck, like the monetary value is still pretty good for even sitting in my driveway, not even running, because I mean, it's a stick shift Cummins. Everybody wants one. I could probably sell it. I've had a few people try to buy it. I've listed it just off and on before, but I really don't want to get rid of it. Worst case scenario, if I need money, I can get rid of that thing for at least some kind of money. It wouldn't be like a couple $100. I mean, it's got a trans is worth like $3 grand in it. Got a good transfer case. It's got good axles in it. The motor is still fine, just needs a computer. So the value of that truck for me is high. And it's the same thing when it goes back to my Hyundai that I bought. The value on that's like through the roof to me because I drive it to work every day and I never have to worry about it breaking. It's got a warranty, reliable. I mean, it has a little bit of cargo space, enough for what I do. If I'm just like toting parts or, you know, I drive it to my girlfriend's house 45 minutes away. It gets like 40 miles to the gallon. The value of that car is the stress relief that I get from driving like a car with a warranty is ridiculous. When I was younger, all I did was drive old Lemons and it was always like, oh, I hope it starts so I can go to work tomorrow. Oh, I hope it starts so I can go to school tomorrow. Oh, I hope this really doesn't break. I gotta drive an hour and a half and stuff like that. But now with the Hyundai, it's like, yeah, it's corny, it sucks, it's boring. Definitely easier to say it's corny and it sucks and it's boring from when I'm in it driving compared to like when I had old E36s that barely ran and I drove them to trade school and back and all that. So yeah, I'm getting around to the point where I'm trying to give my honest opinion on why I sold the Cadillac. And it was just, it seemed, when I sold it, it ran all right and everything was okay. The rear was starting to whine, and if you know anything about CTS-Vs, you can't fix it without going with like an 8.8 rear. You just can't fix the rear end. I'm okay with like fixing like BMWs with their stupid window regulators. I'm okay with fixing even the ECM in my truck, and if it needed a VP, that's like, you know, you're topping out at like $2 grand, like worst case scenario. Like dude, an 8.8, like you're talking $5 grand all said and done. And I mean, I don't have a lot of room to work on stuff right now. I could do it at my job, but it sucks. That started to go. You start to read more, they need like rear bracing. And then you read more, and it has transmission issues with the T56 that's in it. Just trying to think of what else. And everybody says like, oh, like LSs are cheap power, like it's cheap, makes big power. But like, I mean, yeah, I can heads cam and intake and make some good horsepower numbers, but like it doesn't matter if it blows the rear up all the time. And then like, what, is it really that cheap to make power because I'm spending $5,000 on a rear to make anything usable, anything fast? I was in a point where I was like, I'm either gonna have to sell it right now or I'm going to put a bunch of money into it right now. Personally, I didn't like the car enough to dump the money into it. So that got nixed and I went back to what I'm used to doing is with E36s and Japanese cars. Would I say it was a bad car? I wouldn't say it was a bad car at all. I impulse bought it because I wanted one for like a week, so I went out and bought one, and I should have did more research. Like I said, I mean, it was fun to drive when I had it. Would I buy another one? No. And I don't think I would buy any sort of like low strung V8 like that. I want like a high RPM V. I mean, I like vets. Like I always look at C6s for sale and stuff, and they're awesome. I just don't like the power delivery in a stock LS like that car had. I mean, I'm sure some of my LS friends will beat me to death for that. I kind of like a more high-strung motor than like a cruiser motor. That was what it was in my opinion. The title of the video is probably going to be the reason I sold my CTS-V1 or something, and to sum it up, like the reason I sold it is because I didn't like the car enough to dump money into it. It wasn't my thing. It was fun to drive, like I said. I wasn't going to dump thousands of dollars into a rear diff and possibly put another T56 in it. They're not cheap. Yeah, I could have made some power out of the motor, but it wasn't worth it to me. I mean, I could put my money somewhere else and have more fun, in my opinion. I'm not making any money off making YouTube videos, so it's not like I had like a budget for the car. Like that was my car to go to work, so it's not like I had the option to either like A, spend $7 grand or $5 grand and fix it, and B, I couldn't afford for it to be down for weeks to put a rear in it. I work full time. I mean, like I said, the only reason this video is out is because I'm working late and I don't have time to really work on anything when I get home. So I had to do this like talking type video, which is fine with me. But so yeah, final verdict on the CTS-V conversation was I didn't like the car enough, but I'm sure there's dudes out there that love the cars, and that's cool. You gotta like whatever you drive. I mean, I like what I drive. I'm not knocking anybody for liking them if you do. So yeah, coming up, now that I'm working a little bit of overtime, getting a little extra money, throw some parts at this BMW. Definitely, probably order them up this weekend. Hopefully they'll be in by the next video. I think we're gonna do like some parts that are gonna improve working on it. So I was thinking I'm gonna do some hood struts because the hood struts fell on the camera before. Or the hood fell on the camera before. Some jack pads on it, and I'm probably gonna wire in a battery cutoff switch because I'm super tired of jumping it every time I want to do anything to it. Yeah, so that'll definitely probably be in next week's video. Probably gotta clean this garage up a little bit more. I mean, there's some more lights in. I gotta hit my boy up. I did my lights the first time. It's getting a little dark in here from what I've noticed, especially at night. Yeah, warmer months are coming up, so I definitely want to get this thing back on the road like ASAP. at least looking pretty right. I gotta find an LTW wing, so if you're still watching this video, which I know has been boring, if you know a good LTW wing, I'm not paying for a real one, so you can forget that. If you know a good rep one, drop it in the comments. I'm gonna do LTW splitter on it. I probably got it in the next couple weeks. Fix the window issue that we were just dealing with. Now I should have enough control over my finances where I can get that ECM sent out for the truck. It's still killing me watching it sit there, so I'm definitely gonna try to get that out soon. On the next one, we actually should be doing some work to something. Fingers crossed. I mean, my fingers are crossed that I'll finally get some parts. It's kind of like what I was saying last one. I'm just trying to get stuff done. It's like kind of been low priority, but now it's definitely bumping up on the list. All right, thanks for watching the video. Thanks for sticking around this long if you did. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you on Tuesday.